Hi and welcome to today's video. If you want to see more great content, then please show your support by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I have some really great content planned for you guys. And why not head over to my Instagram for a daily dose of inspiration. This look is called My Girl Lollipop, which is a stunning combination of pink, purple and blue encased in a white liner. And it actually turned out better than I expected, as it's not the sort of look that I've ever done before. My absolutely stunning model chose the look, and despite being out of my comfort zone, like a true professional, I rose to the challenge, and I'm pleased I did, as I now know that if I was to do it again, I would do it differently, which, my friends, is how we learn. And I love that. You're learning, I'm learning, we're all learning together. Like all makeup looks, we start with brows, so please check out my brow video, which I will link for you for the detail, as I'm going to skim over this section. Essentially, I outline the shape of the brow with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow, and then I fill them in with the, again, Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Powder Duo. I then brush through the brow with a spoolie just to kind of blend out the colour, and then I set the brow with a brow gel. After that, it's the eyeshadow base. Now I'm using the P. Louise base in the shade 2, but you could use a MAC paint pot if you have that, or if you don't have that, you could even just use a concealer. Just make sure that you use a shade or two lighter than your actual skin tone, and the reason for that is we want a really good colour payoff, and we really want the colours that we're using to pop in this look. Because this is already a long video, if you want more detail on how to create the perfect eyeshadow base, see the video which I will link above for you, as it's really detailed and informative. Having carved out the brow top and bottom and got the base to the right consistency, it's really important to take a blending brush and just blend out the edges of that base, making sure that it blends seamlessly from the base into the skin, and then just dust over the eyelids just to make sure that you don't get any creasing. I like to take the base under the eye, just a very light layer at this stage, but I will go back and build it up later. Now for the best bit, actually creating the eye look. Here I'm taking the P. Louise coloured base in the shade Touch of Frost. Now if you don't have coloured bases, please don't worry, because you can achieve the same look using normal eyeshadows. It will just take you a bit longer to build up the colour and to get the same level colour payoff that I've created. I'm taking the same flat brush that I used to apply the eyeshadow base. It's the P. Louise flat brush from the Acid Rain collection. And taking my time, I'm pressing the base onto the eyelid, stamping out the outline. It's really important that it's neat and tidy, because I'm not going to go on and blend out this eyeshadow base. I'm applying it in a block colour, which I'm then going to go on and set with eyeshadow in a minute. Using a small fluffy brush and a blue eyeshadow, the eyeshadow that I'm using is called Deceased. Gently press this on top of the blue base, paying attention not to disturb the base. So your pressure needs to be super, super light. Once the blue base is set, we can move on to the next colour, the P. Louise coloured base in the shade Vivid Violet. Using a clean flat brush, I'm applying this to the centre part of the eyelid, slowly, carefully and neatly, just laying the colour down. Just as before, I'm now going to set the purple base with a small fluffy brush, and this time I'm using a purple eyeshadow from the Mama Mitchell palette in the shade Morgan, and lightly press the shadow on top of the base with the lightest of pressures. Using a slightly bigger fluffy brush, I'm using the Morphe 506. I'm going to use this to blend between the two shades. So where the blue shadow meets the purple shadow, I want to blend it together so you can't really see where one colour starts and the other one begins. Now for the final colour, the pink base from P. Louise in the shade Winter Rose. Again, using a clean flat brush, I'm going to carefully apply this to the outer part of the eyelid, and I'm going to now draw the colour up and wing it up towards the temple. To set the pink base, I'm using the shade Morning Glory from the Mama Mitchell palette. once again, using my Morphe 506, I'm just blending between the two colours, the pink and the purple, so that they seamlessly merge together. Now we have to repeat the exact same process on the other side. So take the blue base and set it with your blue eyeshadow, your purple base, set it with the purple eyeshadow, and the pink base and set it with the pink eyeshadow. What goes up must come down, so essentially we're going to repeat the same steps that we did on the upper eyelid on the lower lash line. I have switched out the pink and the blue to make a contrast. So on the lower lash line, basically on the outer corner of the eye, I've put the blue, and on the inner corner of the eye, I've put the pink, and the purple remains as it did above in the middle. To set the bases underneath the eye, I'm using a different brush. In this instance, I'm using a flat brush, and the brush I'm using is the Morphe 410. I'm also winging the blue out up towards the temple, so basically sitting underneath the pink. Now it's time for the eyeliner, and I'm taking the Kat Von D Tattoo eyeliner, and starting from the outer corner of the eye, follow the lash line to the middle of the eyelid, and then from the inner corner of the eye, follow the lash line again, joining the two lines together. Keep repeating this process to build up the eyeliner, and then once you're happy with it, you can repeat the same process on the other eye. To create the white outline, I'm using the P. Louise base in the shade 0, and using an eyeliner brush, I'm using the Morphe 250-1. I quite simply follow the shape of the shadow. Now, I jest when I say simple because it's not simple. It requires a steady hand and lots of practice. Here I'm joining the top white line to the lash line, carefully following just above the black liner and eventually joining the white lines together. And basically you want to repeat this process until the layers of the white liner are perfected. Now carefully follow the underneath of your winged black eyeliner. Now, to help me, I got my model to look up, but in a minute I want you to see if you can spot my mistake. Yep, you guessed it, I hadn't set the white eyeliner, so basically it's imprinted onto my eyelid, which is really annoying. I do correct this later in the video, but for those of you following along at home, don't be like Daniela. Set your eyeliner. To set my white eyeliner, I'm using the shade Muffin from the Mitchell palette, and I'm just basically pressing that along the white eyeliner. Here I had lost some of the gorgeous blue colour, so I'm just adding it back in and just finishing with a soft brush to blend out any harsh lines. Once we've repeated on the other eye, we're just going to clean up any mistakes that we've made. I managed to print white eyeliner on both eyes, so to remove it I'm taking a slightly wet cotton bud and gently buffing away the lines, and then simply taking the eyeshadow and stamping it over the top, and this sorts out the problem nicely. Oh, that's it dear, have a lovely stretch. Right, we're on to the under eyes. So I'm going back in with my P. Louise base in the shade 2 underneath the eyes with my flat brush, and then just blending it out with my fluffy brush, and obviously repeating it on both eyes. Using a flat brush, very gently press the P. Louise white base in the shade 0 onto the waterline, and again just gently set it with the white eyeshadow. I used the Mama Mitchell palette and I used the shade Muffin. For the foundation, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation in the shade 320N, and I'm using a flat brush to apply it all over the face, avoiding the under eye area. Once you've got the foundation on the face, all you have to do is buff and blend the foundation onto the skin. And as always, I'm using my all-time favourite brush, and that's the Morphe 439. But feel free to use whatever brush you have. You may even prefer to use a beauty blender or even your fingers. To get into the small nooks and crannies of the face, I'm taking the Morphe 173 and I'm just blending and buffing the foundation into the small areas of the face, so in between the brows, underneath the eyes, down by the side of the nose. I'm now taking the L'Oreal Infallible Concealer, 2 shades lighter than the foundation shade, so the shade that I've chosen is Vanilla, and apply this to all the areas that you want to stand out, so the bridge of the nose, in between the eyebrows, underneath the eye, down the sides of the nose, and with a Morphe 173 brush, which is basically a small buffing brush, just buff and blend that concealer out into the foundation. Set the foundation with a setting powder. I'm using the MAC Prep and Prime translucent powder. As my model has a young skin, I'm baking the under eye area by applying a layer of powder using a beauty blender, and then just lightly dusting everywhere else using a great big fluffy brush. This leads us nicely into the bronzer, and I'm using W7 bronzer, and this literally is as cheap as chips. I think I paid £3 for it, but I really like the colour. Apply the bronzer to the areas that would naturally get bronzed by the sun. I'm applying it to the forehead, the hollows of the cheek, the jawline, and then using the Morphe 173 contour brush, I'm contouring the sides of the nose and then just gently blending it out to remove any harsh lines. For the blush, I'm using the same P. Louise pink base in the shade Winter Rose that I used on the eyes, and the reason for this is it makes a really lovely blush, and of course it ties in the colours of the eyeshadow quite nicely. I'm using a small fluffy brush to apply it and then just blending it out with a larger blusher brush. No makeup look is complete without a splash of highlight, unless you're going for a matte look, of course. I'm using MAC Silver Dusk Iridescent Powder, and I'm applying it to the high points of the face, the cheekbones, brow bones, bridge of the nose and Cupid's bow. And ta-da! With a false lash and a splash of lipstick, the look is complete. And if you love it as much as I do, then please, 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 please give this video a great big thumbs up. And if you would love to see more great content, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. And why not come over and join me on my Instagram channel for a daily dose of inspiration. Please leave me some comments in the comments box and let me know if there is anything else you would like to see. That's it for today's video. Until next time guys, stay safe.